Okay, so I told you guys that I wanted to take a break. I keep saying this, hopefully this is it. But I got this commenter who got caught up in the middle of everything between me and Curtis, and it really affected him. And I'm making this video to set things right with this person. I'm gonna just put this in randomly and tell you guys, like, I have asthma, so people be thinking that I'm like on the verge of tears when I'm talking. It's literally just like phlegm in my throat, and it got so bad because of the sleep deprivation. So, you know, I can't clear it out. I can't get it out. That's how asthma works. So it's just like, whatever. This is not a joke, and this is not like baiting or trolling. I am here to tell you guys that I was talking to you all about me being paranoid about comments. And a lot of people misunderstood that as me being paranoid about insults and criticism and stuff. That is not where my paranoia was centered around, and I'm going to do my best to explain that now. But before I do that, I do want to apologize to any and everyone that I haphazardly blocked. And hopefully with this explanation, you can understand why I did it and understand that I still don't know what to do to fix this whole thing. Because I didn't do it as a personal attack to you. I didn't do it because I couldn't handle what you were saying to me. I'm going to explain now. So if you can stick through that, you can understand why it happened. And again, I am sorry to anybody who undeservingly got blocked or banned or whatever. But I really don't know what to do here. We cleared everything up in DMs. So when you see me reading the DMs, I'm going to be pretty happy because of how well the issue was resolved. But I was self-reflecting while making the video, and I'm not going to re-record so that my tone is the same all throughout, because it took me forever to read those DMs because reading is hard for me. So I just ask that you forgive the fact that I'll be switching tones when I insert these clips. What I want to talk to you guys about is some concerns that were brought up between me and this commenter, and just the dynamic between me and Curtis and all this stuff that I did not explain in part 3. In this video, I'm going to be discussing paranoia and talking about how I get paranoid every single time I see a comment, and people don't understand that it's not because I can't handle criticism. It was because of the harassment that I received 3 years ago, where these stalkers would purposefully look for anyone who was already turned off to me just because of what I had to say, and then they would respond to those people and then falsely accuse me of doing awful things, like stealing from channels that don't exist, deleting a channel, an imaginary channel that they made up, you know, attacking imaginary people, saying racist things that I never said. And so I just want to say that my channel is so controversial because it is a unique channel, and people can say I think I'm pretentious or know everything if they want to based off of that. It's not where I'm coming from. My channel is unique because my experience is unique and my opinions are unique. So you're never going to find anybody like me on YouTube. It's just not going to happen. The whole point of my channel is that I talk about people enabling abuse, because I learned through my life that abusers are not the problem. That people who enable abusive behavior are the problem, because abusers will only do what you allow them to. So that is the sole focus of everything on my channel, and I'm not going to stop promoting that message because I know that it's true, and I know that most people don't know that. A lot of people enable toxic behavior. That doesn't mean that I think my behavior is perfect. That is me trying to point out something that I see as an issue while also trying to hold myself accountable for the very thing that I'm calling out. It's not the same thing. The other big thing that I cover on my channel is that people cannot handle negativity, like at all. They are forcing positivity all the time and they can't handle it. So when they are faced with something negative that they can't handle, they have adverse reactions and they react in a very, very crazy way. And so that within itself, bringing that up, causes people to then have adverse reactions to my channel where they hate what I have to say and feel like they have to invalidate it. Even if they're honestly arguing, they're just not ready to handle that opinion. So me getting massively disliked from the outside just looks like, oh, it's just somebody who, as Curtis said, makes dog shit commentary, right? But that's not why I'm getting massively disliked. I'm getting massively disliked because my opinions are honestly uncomfortable for people to handle, and then I don't make it any better by covering them in the most uncomfortable way possible. And it's usually to combat the adverse reactions I'm getting from these people. What people don't understand about my formatting is that the reason why I make my titles and thumbnails the way that I do is to trigger people as much as possible. So I make very vague titles and thumbnails that are interpretive. I know what the meaning is, but you don't. So I am going to do a short video about this later, but just to get through this here, I make them this way so that people think I'm going to say this really dumb opinion or this really bad opinion going in. Then they watch the video and hear what I actually have to say if they give me a chance, and they're like, oh, okay. I do that every fucking time I can. And the reason why is because I'm trying to get support from people who are not triggered by a fucking thumbnail. Because those are people who aren't going to stick around when the chips are down. And again, this is coming from someone who went through a level of harassment that not many people understand. So I could get more in depth about that, but the point that I'm making is this commenter was saying that it may be hard to open yourself up to an audience that isn't predisposed to liking you, because he really still thought people were just sucking me off and just love me for no reason. It's the literal opposite. The people who subscribe to me, if anything, are predisposed to not liking me because of how I purposefully format my content. And I do that on purpose to weed out people who need to be predisposed to liking you to subscribe, who need you to say things that they're comfortable with. It's to weed out people who need to be validated by a fucking thumbnail in order to give what you have to say a chance. I don't want those people as subscribers, so I weed them out with my formatting. And so I'm going to get into this a little bit more deeper in a second, but the point is Curtis doesn't know anything about me. All he can go off of is the patterns of behavior that he recognizes through his own experience. So when he's looking at my content, he's just like, well, your format is fucking awful. Your videos look terrible. Your editing is terrible. And he's like, it's not entertaining. And it's like, yeah, people aren't subscribing to me for any of those reasons. They didn't come here for the visual effects. They didn't come here for the edits. They didn't come here for the amazing formatting and the great structure. They're literally here because of my opinion. I like your opinions. I like how detailed you are. I like your perspective on things. Even people who don't agree with me, they'll say, I subscribe to you even though I don't agree with what you have to say, because you're always providing a unique perspective. It's refreshing. You know, it's genuine. I've never heard this before. You always talk about stuff that I wasn't expecting or topics that I never heard of. That's what they're all saying. That's why they like my content. I put this in a text box, but this video is like going to be 2 hours long, so I don't expect for people to watch every second of it and read it. A lot of my viewers view my videos as heavily edited podcasts. So just so you know, that's why people are okay with the length. And even the commenter that I'll be highlighting here in the DMs said that he purposefully looks for longer form content so he doesn't have to search up a 10-minute video every 10 minutes while he's at work. But I still try to cater to the other people by making shorter videos, and hopefully I can start doing that when this video is over. And again, I can explain this better later, but the difference between me and other actual controversial YouTubers is that controversial YouTubers who don't have to deal with what I deal with stick to one niche subject. They just say a lot of controversial stuff about religion or atheism or trans people or racism, right? They just mostly stick to that, and then they'll cover some other topics every now and then. I talk about any and every subject. So with their content, even when they upload something that's uncomfortable for their subscribers, they still come back because they're predisposed to liking the main thing that they cover on their channel, and they're comfortable. Since I talk about any and every subject, they can't get comfortable with me. And that's because discussing abuse, enabling abuse, and people being unable to handle negativity in any degree. So you can ask me to talk about any subject and I can usually incorporate it into that. So there is no safety net for them to fall on if I say something that they don't like. They just have to come here to hear whatever I have to say. That's why even though they don't know what's going to be in my video based off the title and thumbnails because how vague it is, under my premieres, people are just like, I'm excited to see what you have to say because they don't know what I'm going to say. They're just excited because they know it's going to be unique, they know it's going to be different, and they know it's going to be thought out. So I almost forgot to put this in. This video going to be like 1,000 years long at this point, but I'm going to try to explain this as quickly as possible. And I will be elaborating a little bit more in the next video I plan to do, but it's going to be completely unrelated to all this. Like, I really want this to be the last fucking Illuminati video I do. Jesus Christ. Point is, people didn't understand the point of part 2. So I'm just trying to lay this out for you to understand. Basically, part 1 was me pretty much yelling at Curtis because me and harmless channels that are not controversial, whenever talking about something, if they're getting stalked and harassed by these bot accounts, then get suppressed and silenced. Unless we make a big deal of it, no one takes it seriously. So if you speak in a nice way or a constructive way, nobody pays attention. And that's why a lot of these people just delete their channels and stuff like that, because the harassment never ends. So what I would do is, since I'm being called all this crazy shit and people's believing it anyway, I just embrace the chaos. And I was like, fine, I'll be crazy. I'll fucking be unhinged, whatever. So I just embrace it, and would piss people off so much that even though everyone would come back, there's a good portion of people who would come back just because they couldn't stand it. Like in this video, you'll see this commenter was like, lol, look at this nut. Like, that's kind of the whole point, is to keep people watching so I can get some sort of attention. And then I would do like follow-ups and explain myself further, because I have constructive arguments, whether you agree with them or not. They're constructive. They're good points to make. Everybody has their own opinion, but if no one's listening, then what's the point? So I just need them to listen. And then once they listen, there are people who are like, yeah, you make a good point. That makes sense. So that's the only way I could combat the silence that these people were pushing onto me. And so again, part one was me bringing up this whole dynamic in the first place with Curtis. He didn't realize how his content was actually making the very situation that he's commenting on worse. And then he also made that commentary, which really hurts small channels like us, saying, oh, you're just snowflakes if you can't take the very things that these people are using to silence us. He didn't know any of that. So that was the purpose of part one. But then in the comment section of part one was the very stalker that inspired me to talk about it in the first place, the video on him. So as soon as I saw that, that's when the paranoia came in, and I was like, this is going to happen again. For 2 more years, I'm going to have to deal with this because I had lost the support that I had just gained when I had to leave for 2 years. So I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm not. 3 years ago, I never showed his username in a video. I didn't want him to get attention because people were saying don't give him any attention. And I wouldn't show the screenshots because, again, was trying not to give him attention. The second I saw that was the stalker, I was like, I'm gonna tell everybody what the fuck happened because I don't want to go through this anymore. This is insane. But I first had this instinct, which again I will explain in another video. The thing is, I'm really good at getting people to give certain reactions, but again, it's all instinctual. It's not premeditated. So basically, as soon as I saw that stalker, I had this thought in my head, I'm gonna tell my story. But I just had this thought that was like, you need to tell everybody to go fuck off though first. So I went and did that. And I get that now the reason why was because it would get them to come back, or at least a good number of them, give me more attention. Even Curtis used clips from part 2 in his video because he found it so absurd. It gave me more attention. It gave me a chance to speak and defend myself. And so that's why I was saying, like, people don't understand that more than just me being able to take the criticism, sometimes I exploit it because it's the only thing that I can do to combat being silenced. And you might not agree with it, but you're not in this situation. You don't know what it's like. Again, you can't take the nice route. I've tried the nice route, and a ton of small channels have too. It just doesn't work. You have to overcompensate for the lack of support that you have. So that was kind of the whole purpose. I could go in more depth about it, but I don't want to. I think you get the point. The point is, I'm sorry about anybody who got caught in the crossfire of me having to deal with that. It's a point of desperation. And the last thing that I want to say is, with this paranoia, I'm not in a good frame of mind to be able to judge what kind of comments can and can't stay, because I personally am always going to see it through the lens of the stalker. I'm going to always see it through the lens of, this is something that the stalker can use against me. They're going to use this against me. It's paranoia. I can't stop it. So I really don't know what to do, and that's why I'm asking for your help. I'm not saying that all my actions are right, and I'm also not going to sit here and say that I regret everything that I did, because it's a mixed mess. It did give me the result that I wanted to a degree. If I hadn't have did what I did, I would be getting stalked right now and slandered and no one listening. So it's just one of those things where I am sorry about how it affected people, but I can't guarantee that I won't do it again unless I can overcome this and have a voice. If I'm this desperate again, I'll fall right back into that old habit because it's the only thing that I've found that works. So I was about to upload this video, but then I saw this comment and had this whole epiphany. So I'm adding this in at the last second. I'm gonna re-render it and then put it up. I realized that one way that you guys can help me is with comments like this. So this is a person who's just like, well, I don't like him, but I don't like your style either. You're placing all this drama. It was the first and only time I've seen you. It's like, okay, so you're just saying that instead of getting a chance to see what kind of person I am, you're just gonna write off everything that happened as drama, even though a big portion of it is me talking about harassment from stalkers and small channels being wrongfully treated, and that when they speak nicely and they don't attach themselves to big drama issues to have their voice heard, they're just silenced, and then they just have to be harassed and there's nothing they can do about it. So you ignore all of that, sum it up as drama. So you're trivializing what is actually happening. You're making the situation worse. You're commenting that under my comment section, and I'm supposed to leave that there, right? But you say it as if you want a response from me or something, because you're directly saying, only time I've seen you. You're literally speaking to me. And it's not like they said her or something. But if I respond to that, people are going to say you can't take criticism, because if you ignore it, they say you can't take criticism. You respond to it, they say you can't take criticism. And if you remove it, they say you can't take criticism. It's literally like ridiculous. This isn't even criticism. This is literally just an opinion. Like, there's no criticism in it. And it has nothing to do with the video. They just use in my comment section to say they don't like me. And I mean, come on, the irony of a commenter saying that they're writing me off because of their first impression of me under a video where I'm literally telling everyone to give Curtis Price a chance is just astonishing. So since I'm not allowed to respond to these kind of people, no matter what I do, it's going to be twisted. You actually coming in and responding to this person and being like, oh, come on, give her a chance, eh? That is actually extremely helpful. You coming back to this video after you already saw it. This is somebody who watched it when it first went up. You coming back and checking out the comment section and helping to defend me because I'm so small that these type of comments hurt. If I was this big YouTuber with like 1 million subs, a comment like this wouldn't mean anything. It wouldn't hurt me. But because I don't have that many comments, stuff like this will discredit me. And like, oh my God, this epiphany is so important because I didn't realize that that's why the stalkers always said, let Kurena answer for herself. We don't want to hear from you. We want to hear from Kurena. It's because they know that if you guys actually speak up for me, they don't have any power. They're literally picking on someone who doesn't have anybody in their corner, doesn't have any support system. That's why they keep trying to silence me. So it's like, I can't believe I never realized that before. And comments like this is what the trolls will comment under and then falsely accuse me of more stuff. So you coming in and saying something like, oh, come on, give her a chance, eh? That's really important. And them say, oh, she put out 5 videos about this. It's like, I didn't put out 5 videos about one thing. I put out 5 videos connecting to the Illuminati shit because it all technically connects. So I'm trying to keep them together so that when people search it, they can search part 6 and it pops up so that they know it connects to part 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But you know, I'm just gonna be accused of milking it even though no one's watching my video. You get my point? So you're just saying all this stuff that's discrediting me, whether it's on purpose or not. She puts out 5 videos about this. What on earth could she be doing differently? There's so much different stuff in the video. What are you talking about? Like, are you not watching? So you saying she has had very interesting and thought-provoking take on the situation. I found out about her channel from this situation as well. That really helps me. This discussion helps me because even if you two don't resolve this argument when going back and forth, that gives people a little bit more perspective when they read comments like this, and then I can leave those comments up without having to have this paranoia of these stalkers coming in and then falsely accusing me of stuff. So then you saying, I don't like how she did. Is that illegal? So you're literally being criticized by this commenter. This person's responding to you and just disagreeing with you, and then you get all defensive. You say, I don't like how she did. Is that illegal? This is what I'm talking about. I say they're like, you can't take criticism. They literally can't take it. That's why they don't make YouTube videos. One person is responding to you and you just got defensive about it. And they're just like, yes it is. I know that he's being sarcastic. He's the one who suggested that I troll them with my part 4 video title. So this person says that she can make 6 videos about it. I think she's making a 6th final one. In which, yes, this is the last one. I really hope so because I want to sleep. And then they're like, yeesh. It's just like, you didn't do anything. You literally didn't criticize anything in my video. You just summed it all up, trivialized it. You guys coming in, checking out my comment section after you've already watched the video, the supporters, and responding to people like this or saying things like, give her a chance and stuff like that. Just checking out and helping to defend me means a lot because I'm realizing that I can't do this by myself. Whatever the solution is, I can't do it alone. I'm too small. I literally need a support system of some sort to help combat this. So if you guys could find some sort of way to continue to support me like in this way with this guy, it would mean a whole lot. Now, out of respect for this person, because I genuinely believe that they just don't know any better, I will censor out their name. But out of fear and paranoia, I am showing the name of the person who I think is the stalker. And some people may not agree with that, but you were not stalked for several years and slandered. So again, you just don't know what it's like. And you don't know what you would do in that situation. So when you guys see these kind of comments, you need to ask them questions or correct them. You know, correct the record in some way. That'll really help me. And so I just want to get into one more thing before I get into this story with this commenter, which is Curtis's response. The reason why his response was so awful is because, again, he had no idea who I am. All he could go off of is what he's used to seeing. So when he saw me deleting comments, he's just like, well, that means she can't take criticism, because that's usually what happens, right? And he's just like, so she's just a snowflake who can't, like, handle anything. Oh my God, she's crying her tears all over the internet. He had no idea what happened to me 3 years ago. When he put up his response, he then strategically timed it at the same time as me telling the story of the insane harassment that I went through. And not only that, but his video was claiming that I couldn't handle any criticism and that I was just deleting comments because it was hurting my feelings. So when people went over to my video to hear whatever I had to say now, they're hearing my story and they're like, that's not why she's doing that. And it just, he invalidated himself. It's like every move that he made, every strategic move he made against me was just him shooting himself in the foot. He shot himself in the foot by responding in the first place. He never should have. Then when he responded, he invalidated my experience because he didn't know what my experience was. Then he tried to strategically upload at the same time as me, which sent people over to then hear what actually happened, which invalidated him. On top of it, he went over to my video and started commenting in the premiere, which gave people more of an incentive incentive to go watch it because they want to see what he said. Since he didn't know what it was about, he kept telling jokes. He was like light trolling me in the premiere, which was kind of like trivializing my experience. So that shot him in the foot. And then on top of it, every time he commented in my premiere was at points of the video where I was discussing the worst of the worst things that they did to me. So everybody who goes to read what he has to say is hearing some of the worst horror stories of what happened 3 years ago, which again completely invalidates what he was saying. And that's one of the many reasons why people were just like, Curtis is a scumbag. Like, I don't know what kind of content Curtis makes. I wasn't going through his channel. Some people were saying they didn't like the kind of content that he does for whatever reason. But that made him seem like a fucking jerk. And then on top of it, he admitted that he was wrong. And he might have admitted it because when he came in, he heard me talking about what actually happened. So then it dawned on him, oh shit, I made the wrong assumption about this person. And then on top of it, he admitted it through text. So I could screenshot it and show everybody. And he didn't say it in his video. So it just looks so underhanded. It's like, well, if you feel that way, why not say it in the video that you just used to discredit me? Again, he was just taking every L, just discrediting himself back to back to back. I almost didn't even need to respond. But he tried his best to stop people from going over to my channel to hear my side, which made him discredit himself. So that's why I did the next response, which is why people can't stand him even further, because he just had no idea what he was talking about. What I need you guys to understand is that it's not that I can't handle criticism. It's not that I can't handle hate comments. It's not that I can't even handle bullying, which I should not have to put up with. I shouldn't. But all that stuff, I took it on. I didn't care. What people don't understand when it comes to this paranoia that I had, not only was I waking up every single day to people just insulting me because they honestly hated my uncomfortable opinions, but then on top of that, I was waking up to notification after notification of people falsely accusing me of things I never said or did. And some of them were harmless. They were just accusing me of saying things in the video that I didn't. It's not harmless, it's harmful, but it was a misunderstanding. They just misinterpreted what I was saying. But there would be so many comments from these stalkers accusing me of some of the worst things you could ever accuse a person of doing, and then backing each other up on alt accounts saying, yes, we've seen it too, she did do that stuff. And so not only did I have to wake up to that, but then on top of that, I had to wake up to notification after notification of people believing it. People saying to me every day, you know, I liked your video here, but like people are saying that you're doing all this awful stuff. Like, how can you talk about this stuff when you did this to this random channel that doesn't exist? And you said all these things that you never said. How could you just do that? And it's like, that's an experience that you don't understand. That's an experience that Curtis does not understand. That is what hurt. Being criticized and ridiculed and attacked for things that I never said or did, outlandish things that I never said or did for years. That was traumatic. And at the end of it all, I got support. I was finally at the moment where I could have been free of it, or at least it felt like I could. I fought back, I got rid of them, they weren't coming back, and then I had all these supporters because they realized what happened to me, and I got all these supporters from the Stephanie Sue stuff. But then I unwillingly had to leave YouTube for 2 years, so when I came back, it's like all that support died, and I had to start all over again, which I did. Yes, some people were happy to see me back, but it just wasn't the same. And so then when I came back, the trolls came back too, as I've already explained. So I got paranoid because I'm like, oh my God, this is going to happen all over again. Am I going to have to go through 2 more years of people believing I did all these things I didn't do? I got scared. Like, Curtis, how would you feel if somebody every single day was accusing you of raping somebody who you never even heard of and you don't know? And then all these people are like, yeah, we know about it too. Like, we know because we saw this, da 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 da. Like, how would you feel if that happened? And then all your subscribers are just like, I mean, like, I came to you for entertainment, but like, I can't believe that you did that stuff, Curtis. Like, oh, you're disgusting, you're a monster. Like, what would you fucking do? You didn't have to go through what I went through, so you don't know what it's like. You have to come from a place of some sort of empathy, not sympathy, but empathy, to understand what happened to me if you're going to judge me for how I reacted to it. And when you don't, you look like a heartless monster, and that's why people think he's a jerk. And that's why I told people to just give him some time to reflect and stuff, because he really truly didn't know. He couldn't have known. Like, this wasn't some sort of like malicious thing where he wanted to just twist lies against the stuff that happened to me 3 years ago. He didn't know. So when I talk about being paranoid, I'm not paranoid about comments. I'm not afraid of people hating me. I'm not afraid of people calling me names, because I don't need anyone to validate my opinion for me to believe in it, which most people think that that's how you're supposed to believe in your opinions, like with Curtis's response. But again, throughout history, the majority of humans have been on the opposite side, believing things that were not true and doing things that were not okay en masse. So it is just a counterproductive way to measure the validity of your own opinion. And I found a better way to do it. That's why I don't care about the hate comments. And that's why I'm not going to validate your opinion in my thumbnails. They were literally attacking me over a thumbnail. You know how ridiculous that is? To quote quotes in this video, my thumbnail should not have to suck you off for you to watch my content. And if you need that, then oh well, because it's not going to happen. The opposite's going to happen. I'm going to keep making thumbnails that trigger people so that only people who actually think critically and have an open mind will subscribe so that I can have real support on YouTube, because that's what someone like me needs after everything I went through. So when I discuss paranoia, I'm not afraid of hate comments. I'm not afraid of Curtis. That's pretty evident in part 4. What I was afraid of, what I was so paranoid about, was again being accused of breaking the law and having everybody believe it all over again and having to deal with that for 2 more years. So I acted irrationally. It's paranoia. You're not going to act properly. I started to just be like, you know what, I should just get rid of anyone that could bring these people back. And I even admitted it to everybody, and nobody helped me. His comments in the premiere of part 3 was at the part where I was saying I don't know what to do other than to block everything, and he didn't give me a suggestion. Curtis said all this stuff. He never gave me any advice or how he thinks I should have handled it. I'm literally telling people I don't know what to do while they're telling me I think I know everything. I'm literally telling them I'm paranoid while they're thinking that I just think I'm right about everything, that I'm just the greatest person on earth. I'm literally saying I'm not perfect. I can't handle this perfectly. Help me. And they're all criticizing me without providing a solution, which is what started all of this. Me saying that if you have nothing to add, you're going to make the situation worse. And they just went and did it themselves, which just proved my point. So with all that being said, I need you guys to keep in mind that the paranoia that I had, the reason why I was losing sleep to get these videos up, isn't because of Curtis. It's not because of hate comments. It's not because of bullying and name calling. It's because I was like, if I don't explain myself, if I don't defend myself right now as soon as possible, everybody's gonna start thinking that I'm stealing from these imaginary channels again. They're gonna start making the Kurena Fujios usernames again. They're gonna start accusing me of stealing my formats from people and saying all this racist stuff that I never said and doing all these things that I never did. And then they're gonna back each other up. I have to defend myself. I have to defend myself. So I just pulled all-nighters days and days in a row, fucking up my sleep schedule to get these videos up because I was afraid. I was genuinely paranoid and afraid of what that kind of harassment would do to me again. That hurts. Yeah, that does hurt. That should hurt anybody who's human. Like, my sleep schedule right now is a mess. I would force myself to stay awake so that I could have enough time to edit these videos because they do take a long time to make. And through doing that, I kind of accidentally trained my brain to like shoot me with adrenaline whenever it gets late. So once it starts getting late, I'm just like, you must work on something, go edit a video, you must edit a video. And even when I do go to sleep, after like 2 hours, I just shoot up and wake up and I'm like, must edit video, go work on video. And that's the sleep schedule I was trying to fix so I could sleep for longer than 2 hours. And then this stuff happened that you'll see in this story with this commenter. And so I wasn't able to fix it, but I will be able to fix it now because I really think that this is it. Like, I'm addressing the bans and stuff. I don't really think there's anything more that I have to address about all of this. So yeah, I'm just saying that's why I have been sleep deprived, and that also is affecting some of my decision making, coupled with the paranoia. But what I realized out of all this is that maybe I don't have to be afraid anymore. Because funnily enough, through all this Illuminati bullshit, I got all this support now. At this point, because I've never been in this situation before, I may not have to do anything. Maybe it's over because of all the attention that I have now. I don't know if this attention's gonna last. I don't know if it's gonna keep increasing. I don't know what happens next. So I'm looking for feedback because I don't wanna have to keep going through this. I never had that many people talking to me in a premiere. It was a whole discussion of multiple people. I can't even describe that feeling. And so maybe because of all this support now, maybe they can't get away with it again. I don't know. I've never been in this situation. I started to be in it right before I left, and then I left. So I want your suggestions. I want you guys to tell me what you think I should do and help me. Anybody help me so that I can go about this the right way. But you have to factor in that the big concern is that they went under replies to other comments, things that I can't get a notification for. And the more I upload, I can't go through 20 videos a day reading every single reply to a comment to see if the trolls posted false accusations under there. I can't keep doing that. So I'm trying to figure out, what do I do about that specifically? I need help with that so that I can, for once, know what it feels like to be a creator who just posts instead of constantly having to look out for these fucking monsters. So anyway, that's all I want to tell you for this. This is, I guess, chapter 1. I guess I'm going to split this video up in chapters. I'm not going to leave in every single word that I read, but most of them will be there, and yeah. But what I first want to say is that where I knew I could finally fix my sleep schedule. I really wanted to just go to sleep. And then I went to Twitter and I got this message. This guy said, even though I wasn't a fan of your first 2 videos and stuff surrounding it, I hope you and Curtis can hash things out. And he's commenting on me sharing the apology that I made to Curtis. And it's like, I literally decided to do that at the last minute because when I finished part 4, I was like, if he doubles down again, like these commenters are just telling me how they're losing respect for him, right? So I was just like, I don't want this to like blow. I don't want him to get canceled over this. Like, this is insane. So that's why I was like, I'll do the apology. But if I hadn't done it, he wouldn't have said this to me. And just keep that in mind as this story goes on. But so this guy says that, and I hearted it. I said, me too, thank you for the kind regards. He then said, is there a reason I was shadow banned from your channel after my initial comment though? It was the one that talked about virtue signaling in your first video. I was like, oh no. Like when I saw that, you guys who saw part 3, I was like, is it happening again? Because that's what they would do. They would give a compliment or say something nice, these trolls. I was so harassed. When I saw this comment, I was just like, is it happening again? Are they trying to bait me into another thing? Are they going to use something against me? Are they going to slander me? Because I was harassed for years. I had a completely uncensored comment section, and they would accuse me of deleting comments because they were deleting their own comments to then make me look like I was replying to the same comment over and over and over again, which made me look like unhinged and crazy. Like they were doing all sorts of stuff. They were making fake accounts and just like all these things, fake channels and all that. So you can see all that in part 3. I go really in depth about it. So when I see this, you know, I thought I was over it. I said at the end of part 3, I'm done. I'm not going to worry about this anymore. But I did not see this coming. When I saw that, I had the instinct, is this happening again? That looks like, for one, his profile picture, it just looks similar to those troll accounts. Not the ones I showed in the video, but there were some cartoony troll accounts. And yeah, that's all I can say. And so he says, I'm willing to admit I was wrong, but I watched all the way through and made sure I followed the rules in the pinned. And I'm like, I don't know if he's being genuine or not, because again, I'm getting paranoid. I'm like, is it happening again? What do I do? And so I was like, you know what? At the end of part 3, I said that if you type a misunderstanding and it is within reason, I will clear it up. And that's a commitment that I made to myself at part 3. Before that, I really didn't know what to do. I was freaking out. But I was like, if you do that, I will just talk to you. So I said, I don't know. It could have been me or a mod. It depends on how your comment was posted. Also, YouTube auto shadow bans certain comments because of blocked words, which again, because I don't know what comment he's talking about. And so then he says, that's very strange. Here it is. I missed the part where he said it was in the video because again, I was ready to go to sleep. I was tired. Like I want to sleep right now. I'm recording this the same, like right after me and him finished talking. But I then told him it was probably deleted. I think that was in a section where I said that people make vague responses about me, talking about people, doing something, and then saying that I am also doing that thing. It is impersonal, but you have to remember that your comment was along with several others that were doing the same in a more extreme way. I am willing to admit that depending on the meaning behind your comment, that it wasn't one of those comments, but when being flooded with so many extreme ones, mistakes can be made. I only screenshotted a couple of them. Like I was literally being flooded with bullshit. There were some that were worse I didn't even put in there. I got a ton of insults. I did not put that in the video because then all people were gonna do is be like, oh, she doesn't like to be called these things, so we'll call her those things more. And that's not why I was getting rid of it. But the point is I left out a lot of comments that I was getting through this whole thing. And so I was telling him, like, when being flooded with all this stuff, mistakes can be made. And I'm looking at these numbers. You see these numbers here. I'm just like, okay, people are watching this. And again, I got that paranoia. I'm like, is this the group? And so since I'm suspecting that he's part of the group because I'm paranoid, I was like, let me do what I used to do. Let me ask them to specify, because they would never specify. And if he would not specify, I was going to write him off. I was going to be like, nope, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm done, because that's the same thing that they always did. Again, it makes no sense not to specify if it's a misunderstanding. Like that literally doesn't make sense. So I said, what was the purpose of you pointing out that I talked about people virtue signaling and then pointing out that I seem to be doing so as well? Because it's like you're pointing out that I'm being a hypocrite, basically. But in the video, I was encouraging virtue signaling. So I just wanted him to say it so I could be like, well, that's not what happened, and be done with it, right? Which I'll get back into that in a minute. I'm not saying that was a legitimate reason to block him. I'm going to explain all of this. Like, trust me, this story is worth it. But he stopped replying. And it's not that he wasn't replying, it's that his replies would take a while. But while I'm sitting there waiting, you can see these numbers rising. They rose higher. before I deleted them. Like, I was just looking at the numbers while I'm refreshing, waiting for him to respond, and they were rapidly increasing. When he was saying the stuff before, it was just like 1, 2, maybe 5, whatever. Like, let me go look at this screenshot. Yeah, like 15, 17, you know? It's whatever. At the most, it was 20, 28. But then they started to like rapidly increase, and I don't have the screenshot of right before I removed it because I did refresh it a little bit before I actually deleted all this shit. But it was literally just hiking up. It just went from like, 12 to 15 to 25 to 38 to 42 to 56. I was like, oh my God, it's happening again. They're going to use the fact that I deleted this commenter, and they're going to be like, oh my God, all this stuff about Kurena. And I just started freaking out. Like, I literally, like, my heart started pounding because, again, when I got harassed by these trolls 2-3 years ago, I was just numb to it. I didn't care at the time because I was so used to it. It was every day. Then I left for 2 years and came back. So when they first came back, I was freaking out. That's why I said now I'm sitting here paranoid. But then I felt relieved because I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to freak out every single time I see a comment and act all like crazy and not know what to do. I'm going to read these comments and give them a chance. And it's easier said than done, but I'm at least trying, okay? I'm like, I'm going to try to just give them a chance. And if they bait me into an argument, then I'll block them. Like, once they confirm that they're just being a troll or just being crazy, I will block them. So when I'm seeing these numbers rise, I was just like, okay, I want to stay true to what I said. I want to clear this up with this guy, but these people are hiking up. They're hiking up the views. Like, it's like more and more people are watching. And I just told you guys in part 5 that, that tightrope, and when you make a mistake online in front of thousands of people, it's just not the same as making a mistake in real life. It's not. And so I'm sitting here like, it's just an accident. Like, I thought that it was something it wasn't. And they're going to use this against me. They're going to just post it everywhere, and they're going to add more stuff, and then they're going to add stuff that didn't happen. Like, that's where my head was going. Like, I was freaking out. I was like, I don't know what to do. Do I just ignore him? Do I just wait for him to say something? I know that that's not what I said in my video. I already know that his comment is wrong. I knew his comment was wrong. I just needed him to admit it. So I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? And so I couldn't take it anymore. I literally could not take refreshing it. Like, as you can see here, it said 29 minutes stuff. I waited for a half hour. I just kept refreshing it because of the paranoia. And so I ended up telling him, I said, can you DM me your answer? As I said, I have been getting harassed for the past few weeks and having everything I do twisted against me. It is late. I don't want to wake up to dozens of people twisting this potentially incorrect comment against me. You can call me paranoid, but I am screenshotting this for my protection and hoping that we can clear this up in DMs. I'm just going to insert real quick that proof that this was me being paranoid because of 3 years ago is that this is a screenshot from 3 years ago that I posted in part 3, my story. And right here you can see that I said I will be screenshotting this for further use because they were accusing me of deleting their comments when I had a completely uncensored comment section. And there were way worse comments that I had that were still up. So why would I have deleted that comment when they were saying so much worse everywhere else? So it actually did come in handy that I screenshotted it for further use 3 years later. So I was just like, I'm ready to do it again. I will do that if I have to. Okay, I'm just letting you know, yes, I'm paranoid, but I'm going to screenshot this just in case it's happening again. I was literally battling not saying anything because to admit that I'm paranoid, if he was the troll, that would have been everything that they wanted, And they would have just exploited it further or lied to me to make me think that I could trust them and all this other stuff, right? So I was like, please just reply, please. And since he wouldn't, so I just ended up being honest anyway, because it's the right thing to do. To give him a chance, and if they use it against you, there's people who believe you. There's people who know that this happened to you. I honestly was terrified to put up part 3. I just thought I was going to get a bunch of commenters saying, that's nothing. Like, I got the least amount of hate comments on part 3, and I didn't get a single comment trivializing my experience. Not a single person was like, that's not even a big deal. Even people who had disagreed with my content was like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm not even for censorship, but I understand why you resorted to it. I was reminding myself here, I was like, people believe you. You are not crazy. Imposter syndrome and all that. I'm like, you are not crazy. They believe you and they're supporting you. Not everyone's going to turn on you for this. So just tell this person the truth. And I did. And so because he took so long to respond, I just started deleting all the tweets that I could except for the question. As you can see here, can you DM me your answer? As I said, I've been getting harassed. I was just like, well, let me type this too. So I told him, I'm completely all for settling this with you. I just don't want to be slandered by bad actors. I was freaking out. And then he finally replied and said, sure thing. I was like, what? I was not expecting that. But the trolls, they were like, you just can't handle it. You can't take any criticism. And it's like, I just am trying to not be piled on without a chance to defend myself. It's fucking midnight. So he was just like, sure thing. And so then I said to him, I am completely all for settling this with you. I just don't want to be slandered by bad actors. Would you mind removing your tweets? I posted a video of a group of stalkers harassing me, and this will be used against me. And so I ended up DMing him because he hadn't deleted his tweets yet. So I was like, is he gonna do it? And then he finally did it. So in the DMs, he's like, all right, so I was going to say that I had no idea why my comment that I considered very tame could have been mistaken for slander or damaging to your content. And I tried to open up the DM first, but it said that my Twitter page was locked. Like, that was weird. I was like, when that first happened, like, I swear to God, my heart stopped. Because I didn't tell you guys this, but when my life got threatened, it was somebody on Twitter. They typed out this whole incoherent thing about like Markiplier or something, and they were just talking about all this stuff that they wanted to do to me to kill me. It was this whole thing. I had to call the police. Like I said, I have a case on record having to call the cops because of all the crazy shit this person said to me on Twitter. And they were trying to get my personal information. They were trying to get me to click on this link to get my personal info because they wanted to kill me. They were uploading weird YouTube videos. It was the whole thing. So when I clicked on this, the message, it took me to a new page, which made my heart stop for a second. I was like, oh my God, did I just click something and dox myself? Like I was freaking out. And then it said, your Twitter page has been locked. I was like, what? Did they hack into my account? Like my heart started racing at that point. Like it was literally just like, I can't even describe it. I was literally shaking because I just didn't know what was going on. So I said, here, it doesn't look like I'm freaking out, but I was freaking the fuck out. I was barely breathing and I was just like, so weird. I tried to message you and it said that my Twitter page was locked. Could you first delete your tweets? Because I was still freaking out about those views. They were just hiking up. I said, can you first delete your tweets? I'm all for clearing this up and willing to accept if I made a mistake. I don't know if you saw part 3, but everything I did, no matter how small it was twisted and exaggerated, which almost might play into why your comment was deleted. I was trying to be honest with them. Like, I am all willing to accept that I was being paranoid. I'm all willing to accept that I haphazardly deleted your comment. Because again, until part 3, I did not make the decision to give people a chance because I didn't know how to handle it. I was in the middle of the hate group coming back. They literally have come back to harass me again. Here's a screenshot of a comment that's a bait of an argument. You can see the same patterns as in part 3, and they're typing with that same weird comma thing as Adam was in part 3. So I genuinely believe that this is Adam. I don't think this is me haphazardly banning someone. But you have to watch part 3 to see this pattern because these screenshots by themselves are not enough. But they used to always say, like, we're not talking to you. We're talking to her. We don't want to hear from you. We want to hear from Kurena. Like, they were obsessed with getting me to reply as much as possible and then ramp up the arguments. And you can see here what I'm talking about. Like, he didn't type anywhere else. This commenter was nowhere else in my comment section. The first comment he posts is under a reply to someone else. Because that's what they always did. They always reply under something else. They start this whole thing where they bait an argument, like right where you see the whole going after the commenters was overboard is because I went after him for what he did. And I think that he's the same person as Adam. So again, there's so much context missing. This is not enough to prove my point, but please watch part 3 before you judge the fact that I blocked this person for what looks like a harmless comment, because I genuinely believe that this is the same stalker from 3 years ago. As best as I could, I proved that Adam is the stalker from 3 years ago. They talk the same. They do very weird, rare, specific things using very weird words that not many people would use. Also, this was commented under the Curtis apology video. These are the kind of comments that I wasn't showing in part 3 because when I saw them with that paranoia and that adrenaline, I would just get rid of it so fast. I didn't even screenshot it because it just reminded me of the fact that they had these usernames. Kurena Fujio is a rapist and was spreading that around and stuff like that. So I was like, oh my God, is this happening again? Are they doing that again? Like, I was just freaking out. But they said a lot of awful stuff about me, like, and they weren't even watching the video. They're just insulting me and calling me names. Again, I try to be constructive in my videos. Even if they're offensive, I try to add something. So for people to call me a hypocrite, it doesn't make sense. You can be offended, but I'm not being a hypocrite. Those are two different things. So I said that and he ended up thumbsing it up. I was like, oh my God, he's really gonna do it. And I said, if the thumbs up means you will, then honestly, thank you. I do not want to censor people unjustifiably. Like, I was still freaking out, but I wanted him to know I really don't want you to be caught in the middle of this. I don't know what to do. And so he said they are deleted as far as I can tell. I checked and they were. I said, okay, I believe you removed them. Why were you showing me pointing out virtue signaling and then it seems that you were saying that I virtue signal? I just asked it again because still in my head I'm like, this still might be a troll though. You know, my account getting locked and all that. My head was all over the place. Sleep deprivation, all that stuff. I'm not making up excuses. I'm telling you, this is where my head was because of some stuff I'm about to say in a minute. So he shows it. I'm sorry. Kurena she has this like opinionated face. She's just like, you know, and there's his little comment. And he's like, I felt like it wasn't a helpful comment if I just said what I did in edit 1. So I'm gonna try to censor him out because he didn't want his username to be shown, but he said that I can call him Moose. And so he's saying if it wasn't for the edit, he's saying that it wouldn't have been helpful if it was just the first part. So he put in the edit to make it more constructive. And he was saying he'd come back to expand on it. When I saw that, it's so crazy. I have so much more to say about this. You'll understand by the end of this video. But when I saw him say he would come back and expand on it, my instinct was telling me this is a legit person. But for some reason, his comment freaked me the fuck out and I didn't know why, but I will get into that later. But because it freaked me out, I was like, this is another one of these motherfuckers, right? So I said, what wasn't a helpful comment? Me virtue signaling? And he said, no, I'm talking about my comment. That was me misunderstanding the first part of his comment. I said, I misread the grammar. I think I understand now. Could you explain what the virtue signaling implied? Because he still hadn't answered it. Again, I'm still sitting here paranoid. I'm trying to speak respectfully, but in my head, I'm like, you gotta fucking answer. You have to tell me that you thought the thing that I know you thought, or else you're one of those trolls because they never answer. You know, I'm just waiting to confirm that he's not the troll or he is the troll. I said, could you explain what the virtue signaling implied? He said, I was at work worried about being caught looking at my phone too long, so I had to rush my wording while the thought was in my head. I also have ADHD, FYI. Not surprised at all. No offense, I'm just, throughout this conversation, I totally got where he was coming from. And I said, I understand. And he said, I took it as you condemning that when commenters talk about a trending topic, they use the opportunity to virtue signal. Just so you guys know, I can't read for shit. I'm doing my best. It says, it's like a slipping turd in a sandwich. I said, no, I was saying that as in, how do I phrase this? I was saying that it is just the state of the matter that people virtue signal during controversy. So then I said to use it as an opportunity to learn more about them. Slipping a turd into a sandwich? I was so confused by that phrase. But I think he's not from America. He said it's a term for someone adding something unwanted to something you're enjoying. And I said I was encouraging virtue signaling because it allows others to learn more about them. I said, still confused on what you mean by that. Are you saying that I added something unwanted to what exactly? He said, no. The turd being slipped in was Curtis's virtue signaling of learn to take a joke. I said, oh, so would I be enjoying the video? And then he added that in and ruined it for me, you mean? He said, not enjoying the video, but more like you suddenly furrowed your brow at something stupid he said. For the record, I want to clear something up. I said, yes, go ahead. I do too, but you can go first. I honestly don't remember what set me off, like officially, in Curtis's video. All I can say is as soon as I saw his face, I was like, this fucking nihilist. That's a whole other story when I talk to you guys about like physiognomy and all that stuff. But like as soon as I saw his face and as soon as he opened his mouth, I was like, this fucking nihilist. And then later on, he started saying those nihilistic things. It was just like, oh, if you get offended by jokes. I was like, you motherfucker. So I just knew what he was gonna do. It's these patterns I'm telling you guys about. But the point is, I don't know what officially set me off to have me start officially going off in his video. He said, I'd never seen Curtis's video before yours. The Illuminati drama videos I watch tend to be longer than this since I listen to them at work. I don't want to be finding a new video every 10 minutes or so. So I came into your video almost as neutral as can be. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh my God, like I treated this guy like shit, didn't I? Like the second I read that, I felt so bad. Because at this point I ruled him out as the hate group. Like I'm like, obviously he wouldn't keep talking to me like this if he would have already been like, we want to hear from you, Kurena. What do you have to say, Kurena, about all this stuff you didn't do? Like he clearly wasn't doing that. So I felt so guilty and my heart was still racing like a lot. Because I'm just like, oh my God, I really fucked this up. I'm about to be like exposed and dragged across the internet for jumping the gun with this guy and nobody understands why. They don't understand what I went through and how hard it is to move forward from it. They're not going to sympathize with me. They're not going to give me a chance. Oh my God. Like I was freaking out, but I was like, I'm gonna just keep talking to him. He said, I say almost because your title was Illuminati is not the problem with the text you are in the thumbnail. Even then my thought was, all right, I'll hear it out. Again, I was like, oh God, I treated this poor soul like crap. And so I said, I already understood that now that I'm looking at your comment again. Like, that's because once I ruled him out as the troll, I scrolled up, saw his comment, and I was like, this is a harmless comment. Like, once I removed the scope of him being the troll, I was able to look at it objectively. But through that troll lens, when you're paranoid, you're literally looking for anything that signals the thing you're freaking out about. You know? So I literally could not look at it objectively. And I was just like, not saying that in a mean way. I'm saying that I believe you. I'll wait to say more though. He said, all right, I didn't see part 3, by the way. Been meaning to type this for a while. I felt like I was told to fuck off in part 2. So he's quoting me and saying, no, I'm not going to change the title to Illuminati is not the problem. Then some other stuff you said that I can't quote but didn't like. And for part 3, I was wondering what any of it had to do with Blair, so I got bored. Again, ADHD. Again, I get it. He said not being able to interact since I was shadow banned also didn't help. Like, again, the whole time I'm just sitting here and just taking these L's. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this to this man. I'm assuming it's a guy. I don't know. And I said, I completely understand that you felt that way because you essentially were. Like, yeah, you were basically told to fuck off, if not literally. I said, no, it makes perfect sense. Can I elaborate what I wanted to say? Because it looked like maybe he was done talking. So I was like, oh, can I say what I want to say now? And he said, told to fuck off or shadow ban. I said, I honestly don't know if I shadow banned you. So possibly both. The point that I'm making is you weren't given a chance. And I am sorry. I'm going to explain if that is okay. Because I didn't even need to hear anymore. Like, everything he told me from this point on, again, patterns. Like, it was just so obvious. I could completely see where he was at, especially with him saying he has ADHD. Again, with people have ADHD, separate from me talking to you guys about me having issues with dissociation. Just ADHD in general, for many people, can cause emotional deregulation. But it's a sure thing. I embarrassingly got really frustrated by the shadow ban. And I think he said that. I keep saying he. It might not be a he, but I'm just going to keep saying he. And it says like, oh my God, I need to vent on the internet, levels of frustration. And like, I already knew because of everything he said here. He felt like he was embarrassed because he's talking to me now. Like, I'm no longer this, I'm no longer this raging woman in this video. I'm a whole ass person talking to him. So, you know, my paranoia is gone, his frustration's gone. We're like, oh, we are now people speaking to each other. Okay. So now he's feeling a little bit embarrassed, and I can't even describe how I felt. I literally felt like mortified. I was like, I can't believe I told this poor soul to fuck off. And so he said, oh my God, I need to vent on the internet, levels of frustration. I said I was harassed on a daily basis all over my channel for years. It got really bad for maybe 1 to 2 years. I kept fucking up the time, but here I said I don't even remember because it felt like forever. It really did. Like, they started from the beginning trolling me, but it just kept getting worse and worse as the years went by until the final year, which was with all the Stephanie Sue shit. That's when it got to its worst and worst. But there is some proof in part 3 that they were bothering me before the video, because they were saying she can't even break 1,000 views, and then I broke 1,000 views with the Stephanie Sue thing. That directly implies that they had been massively harassing me at least months and months before that, if not a year. And then before all that crazy harassment, I was still getting harassed, just not to that degree. So it just felt like forever. It felt endless. And I said, I was accused of deleting comments when my comment section was completely uncensored. And of course you would. I would too. I'm saying, like, of course he would feel like he has to vent on the internet. I told you to fuck off. I said, your feelings are completely valid. I honestly feel really bad. I can't really summarize this justifiably. I explain it better in the timestamps, but everything I said and did was twisted to be the opposite. For example, people would type an insane comment. I would reply in an offended way, and then they would edit it to make it look harmless. I don't think I mentioned that, but that was like another thing that they would do. There's probably other shit that I forgot that they did that'll resurface at some point, but they were doing all sorts of shit. I said they were calling me a KKK member after I made a video speaking out against racism, because again, he doesn't know any of this. He hadn't seen it, so I was trying to give him a rundown. I said they accused me of stealing my entire channel from someone else and then deleting the channel that I stole from. So it was outlandish accusations on a daily basis with walls and walls of comments, and the group that did that is back now. I did my best to prove it in part 3. They keep baiting arguments where they pretend to have a disagreement and then turn it into a list of accusations. False accusations, I should have said, which I showed you guys in part 3. He said, this stuff you're describing is nuts. I understand wanting to defend yourself from it, but it's resulted in the opposite reaction in me, at least you wanted. And I said, I was still typing. So I said, so I have this paranoia where whenever I see anything that can potentially be them, I ask myself, is this them? Is this happening again? What do I do? Do I ignore it? If I ignore it, they say I can't take criticism. If I respond, they say that I'm being argumentative and can't take criticism. If I post in a video, they say that I'm being a bully. If I apologize, then they just accuse me of more and more, even though I'm apologizing for something I didn't do. If I block it, they say I can't take criticism. So my only solution is to block everything that could potentially be them. So I think I waited for a second for him to type, but then I thought of more to say. I said, I just wanted to say for clarity that I made the wrong choice in deleting your comment. Because I went back and read the comment and it's wrong. His comment was wrong. But like, now that the whole paranoia of the hate group thing is gone, I know that he's not one of them. I was like, that's a comment that I would have left up if I wasn't worried about you being John Wick or Adam or whatever, which is the troll names for those who didn't watch part 3. And I said, when I tried to clear things up, they would just accuse me of more and more. So most of the time I make the right choice, but then with someone like you, the mistake is made. And again, I am sorry. I don't know how to unshadow ban you, but I think I can make you an approved user and that will fix it. But I want to make this up to you because you did not deserve that. I was going to be posting short videos about commenters. Would it be okay if I made a video about this and publicly apologized to you? Supportive comments specifically, meaning I didn't want to keep posting troll comments because I'm over it. He said, I forgive you. I'll have comments to delete in your videos, but I'd appreciate the video. My only request is that you point out how you eventually did change your later titles to Illuminati is the problem, when part of my criticism was the Illuminati is not the problem. I knew you weren't defending Blair, but I knew that Blair had done enough to be the problem, hence the criticism. I quote him saying, I'll have comments to delete in your videos. What does that mean? He said, anyways, you wanted to describe the opposite reaction I had. When did I say that? I forgot. I don't know. I forgot. Again, reading, I'm spacing out. I'm tired, you guys. Like, I'm so tired. Hang on. Whatever, he said that it happened, so it's there somewhere. I said, I still agree with saying that Blair is not the problem. I didn't change the previous titles. I made part 4 Illuminati is the problem to turn things back on the people attacking me. It was a suggestion from a supporter. He said, I brought up how I was shadow banned a lot, and unfortunately, I may have said rude stuff in your live chat for part 2. Not sure if it'll show up when I'm unbanned. I said, again, I have nothing against you for what you said, even though your comment was depicting something that I wasn't relaying. It wasn't worth the ban. He said, yeah, I misunderstood what you said. 100% agree. I said, I'll probably remove it just to keep things from being twisted. You know, whatever he said in the live chat, I haven't checked it yet, but I'm going to, which means I'm gonna have to watch it again. I don't know. I don't want to have to sit through that long ass video. I done watched it like 100,000 times to get it up. Real quick tangent, ADHD tangent. That's another part of the work that goes into the videos I have to edit. I have to keep watching them to make sure that I put in all the details I need to put in, or the info, or make sure it flows okay, even though the flow isn't great. So if it's like 40 minutes, I gotta watch this whole 40-ass minute video, and then I gotta watch it again and again and again. I gotta double, triple check to make sure everything's okay. When I upload it, I have to watch it again to add chapters, which takes twice the amount of time that the video is. So if I'm putting up an hour, 40-minute video, I gotta sit there for basically 3 hours adding chapters. Anyway, it's a whole thing. So moving on. I said I'll probably remove it just to keep things from being twisted. Yeah, and the problem is all I saw was that you misunderstood me, and because the few people that I tried to respond to weren't willing to talk about it except for one, I just gave up. I showed everybody the person who I cleared things up with, and we were good in part 3. So yeah, except for that one person, I said, I just gave up. I said, I only decided after putting up part 3 to start giving people a chance again. Now, granted, I'm not perfect, especially in a live chat. If you guys are in a premiere distracting everyone from the video, I should probably time out people though. I'm gonna try to start doing that. It says, I only decided after putting up part 3 to start giving people a chance again. So that small window, I typed a lot. I talk a lot. I said, so that small window where I gave up wrongfully affected you. And again, I am sorry for that. Because honestly, with his comment, his isn't the one that I would have jumped the gun on after part 3. Other ones where they're just like, you just did this thing that I literally did not do. Like, what I need to do is just delete it. And half of them I would delete, the other ones I would block. Again, it just depends on your feeling in the moment, your subjective view in the moment, what makes sense at the time. But I'm going to try to be more careful and just opt to delete these ridiculous comments. And if they keep posting it and reposting it, then I might block the person. But I should just start off by deleting, you know, if it's something that I can't clarify. So again, I'm sorry. I don't know. It's hard. They're not in this position. I don't know what to do, dude. I'll get back to that later. So it says, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate you reaching out to me. At this point, I just had this weight lifted off of my shoulders. Like, I literally felt completely alleviated. I was literally just smiling. Like, I just kept smiling. I was like, oh, thank God it's not happening again. It's been so long since I've had such an awful misunderstanding with a person and we were just able to talk. It's just been these trolls. So I already knew this was going to work out at this point. So I told him, because I was so damn overwhelmed, I said, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate you reaching out to me. I'm not trying to paint a sob story, but you made me tear up a little just now. Like, there was a little bit of water in my eye because I was just so fucking relieved. It was like a happy tear. I was like, oh my God. You are the sweetest soul, because this person is just screaming into the void. This person was so fucking wrong and they still reached out to me so that we could actually talk. And so I said, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. So I said, because like I said, that paranoia, it's like trauma. It is trauma. Again, that shit was fucking traumatic. I said, I thought that I was okay in part 3. I said, I won't worry about another second about these people. But what you sent me on here was something I wasn't prepared for. Like, I was not prepared to have a screenshot in my video of such a harmless comment. And I'll get into why I thought that it was a harmful comment, because I did figure out why I just blocked that person without giving them a chance. It's kind of ridiculous, but funny-ish. But I was just like, oh my God, this is like the biggest mistake ever that they're going to just exaggerate and twist against me. So I was just saying that paranoia is like trauma. I thought I was okay, but I wasn't prepared for this. So I said the questions came back. Is it happening again? What do I do? Are they going to use this against me? But I fought that and told myself to be honest with you, because as I said, I am choosing to give people a chance first, or at least try my best to. Because again, I'm not perfect. It's fucking hard, okay? So I said, I just wish I came to that conclusion sooner. But thank you so much for reaching out to me. I just kept thanking him. I said, you lifted a weight off my shoulders and gave me hope in knowing that not everyone will demonize me for making a mistake. I can't describe how I feel with words, because again, I was like grinning ear to ear. I was so relieved. I said, but I promise I will make it up to you. He said, I'm really glad you're open to this conversation and willing to change. I said, link me your YouTube channel and I will approve you. You then leave a comment and we'll see if it's public, okay? I don't want to block people. I just don't know what else to do. These trolls are not going anywhere. This hate group that's stalking me, I don't know what to do. I was not exaggerating in part 3 when I said every single time I see something that can just slightly be a misunderstanding, I'm like, is this them? Because this is what they did to me all the time. I don't know what to do. The only thing I can think of, other than blocking everything, is attaching watch time and a counter to the ad, which I can't fucking get done. I'm not working for YouTube, you know? I'm not some big YouTuber who can promote that message. So I literally don't know what to do. And then on top of it all, I'm getting ridiculed by all these people who aren't giving me a solution. They're like, oh, you're just blocking everybody who disagrees with you. It's like, well, then tell me what to do. I literally ask people, so am I not supposed to block this? Nobody answers. I'm like, what do I do? No one's giving me an answer, but they're getting mad at me for doing the only thing that I can think of to protect myself from literal stalkers. Is honestly unfair. I'm just saying it is kind of this insane standard where we're gonna hold you to this perfect standard and then tell you that you think you're perfect. That's insane, okay? And so he said, in a bit, I need to type some stuff out here. I said, and I especially don't want to block people unjustifiably, but there's so many gray areas where it's hard to know what to do. Okay, go ahead. He said, so here's my thread about how I reacted. None of this is me saying, I already know where this is going. He said, none of this is me saying it was right. I'm just recapping. That's how you know it's bad. If they start off like that. He's like, okay. He said, I'm just recapping what happened and I'm willing to apologize for whatever you want me to. He said, so after I deleted, after I got deleted from part 1 and saw that you were deleting all the criticisms, I got irked. I saw your description for part 2 before it went live and thought it was absolutely unhinged. Oh my God. He said, I shared a screen cap of it on Discord. I'm in and went, look at this nut. It gets so much worse, you guys. Like, I really fucked this man up. He's like, I was still interested to see if you addressed my comment in part 2, so I watched it live. He's just sitting there. I felt so bad. He's just sitting there in the live, unable to talk to anyone. It's like that episode of Black Mirror where they just blacklisted the person. He's just sitting there hating my guts for like 40 minutes. And he said, I did not like it. I did not like it. I actually got really upset because I did not like being called the problem or something like that. And I was not saying that. That's not what my point was. No one person is the problem. We all have to take responsibility. That was my point. And so he said, the order of events up until Curtis's video are muddled FYI. So he's trying to tell me just how bad it all got. You know, for closure, I feel like he wanted to tell me all this for closure. And so I was sending him the timestamps from part 3 just so that he could look at it whenever he got a chance, because he said he has ADHD and he couldn't pay attention because it had nothing to do with Blair. Maybe now that he knows what it has to do with, he can pay attention without the timestamps, but I was like, let me just go grab these for you so you can watch the most important parts. So while he's telling me his story, I keep clicking over to the other tab to get the timestamps and then read what he says. So I'm like, this is an example in part 3. And then I quoted him saying, the order of events until Curtis's video are muddled FYI. What do you mean by this? I'm just confused. Because I know that he was about to divulge all this stuff that he did. So I'm getting more timestamps. He says, I only remember what I did before Curtis's video, not when I did them. I went to join Discord? I don't know who that person is. I don't know who anybody is. With the attempt to share your videos so that it could get covered on his stream. Thankfully, it took so long to actually be let in that I changed my mind and left. That's the ADHD, man. I'm telling you. I'm not kidding. But the point is, it's just so crazy that that one choice would have changed everything. Imagine if he had gotten in and I would have been exposed for that. I would have thought that he was one of those trolls. I would have been like, oh my God, they're like going to... When I tell you that they was making Reddits, okay, those were the trolls. Like, I can't show you the evidence, but it was the same accounts in the Reddits. So those I know were the trolls. But I would have assumed that he was one of those trolls because I already assumed that he was one of those troll comments that I blocked. But I'll get into that later. So it would have just confirmed, he would have had this confirmation that, you know, I was this piece of shit, this crazy little nut, and I would have had this confirmation that he was this fucking, you know, troll hate group stalker, and it just would have been this whole misunderstanding. And it was only stopped because 1, he's born with ADHD, and 2, the fucking stream took so fucking long, he was like, fuck it. So I sent him another timestamp. He says, I want to post your videos in the YouTube thread of, again, I don't know what none of this shit is. He said, but the YouTube thread was going to be locked down too soon for it to be worth it. So I never did that either. And so there's some people who now will probably go do that. And you know, whatever. Like, there's nothing I can do about that. But I'm still going to put this video up because it's the right thing to do. And it's just so important. He said, I did make a post to just vent about how frustrated I felt about how unlikely it seemed that your videos would be criticized. I didn't name you or link your videos this time, though I did leave the title and the description part 2 as well. We'll just post the whole thing here. Someone made a really awful video. This got me riled up. Oh my God. It says, I'll delete this if requested. This may be too petty. He was like, I won't be directly linking the video. But it's basically called Illuminati is Not the Problem Part 2. I did not like Part 1 and posted a comment politely disagreeing with the creator. I ended up realizing I've been shadow banned from the whole channel. I'm so sorry. The creator also deletes almost every disagreeing comment. It has 400 dislikes and 100 likes. I'm laughing because people be sitting there like, why do you keep talking when you have mass dislikes? I'm gonna do a video about that too, you guys, but that's a separate story. It says, but you wouldn't guess that from the comment section. Anyway, I still watched part 2 since it was going to be her responding to criticism. It wasn't. It was mostly me just saying, fuck you all. Like, that was really the point. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Curtis's video. Because Curtis was just like, nope, not Illuminati's. It's not her fault. It's yours. They were so mad. So he said, but you wouldn't guess that from the comment section. Anyway, I still watched part 2 since it was going to be her responding to criticism. Okay. So it says, dear God, it was horrible. I won't be insulting the creator's mental health. I'm sorry. Even though I really want to. I'll just say that it's like someone being as toxic as toxic to you as possible, and when you finally get fed up with them, see, your attitude proves my point. I completely get where he's coming from. I completely fucking get it, but it's such a misunderstanding. Oh my God. Anyway, it says my biggest frustration is that she won't be criticized. I'm getting criticized. I'm reading the criticism and I'm even taking it in. Some people were saying things, the paranoia, some people were saying things like in a really, really mean way. And I'm like, you have a point, but it's so damn mean, just go away. Like, I can take it in and accept that you're right, but I'm just not gonna leave this here because then more people are gonna come in and start saying stupid shit that isn't right, feeling justified through your comments. So those people I would send away too, which isn't the best thing to do. But again, being harassed with this hate group floating around trying to come back right now, I don't know what to do. So it's this gray area, and I don't know. And I know I've probably pissed off like 2,000-3,000 more people, but it's cool. It's whatever. So they said, as mentioned, she deletes comments that don't suck her off. And bans the posters. And at 5K subscribers, it's unlikely her videos will be responded to by another YouTuber or even shared around by people going, look at this dumb shit. I mean, Curtis responded though, which I did not think he would. Anyway, I'll get back to that. It says apologies for the sucker off jab. I was like, I was just like, I don't even care. It's fine. I said, those are all of the big points. I think I was still linking them timestamps. I just finished. And I said, XD, I'm sorry. I didn't read it yet. All I read was this part and I started laughing because I already knew what he meant. I said, I just read your apology. And it says, I saw your heart. It said, I saw your heart on that comment that was just like, you're so smart. It literally said, you're smart. It did not say I'm so smart. I think it was a troll comment. Let me get into that in a minute. Oh, I was about to ask him something, but since we weren't, I thought that we were going to be done talking, but clearly not. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll wait. He said, one more piece of info. I said, I almost didn't heart it. So that one choice dictated your post. Like, I literally considered deleting the comment. I really didn't think they were complimenting me. I just was trying to handle it in a way where I wasn't going to be attacked again. I talked about this in part 3, but I was like, I don't know. Do I like heart it, ignore it? Do I delete it? Like, what do I do? Are they going to comment underneath and start accusing me of stuff? Is this like a bait? Is it a bait? Are they baiting me again? Like, I was literally freaked out and I just chose to heart it because I thought that it could potentially be a troll comment. And I was like, I'm going to make the first move and assume that it's genuine. I literally did that to overcompensate for the fact that it was probably a troll comment. So if I hadn't did that, he wouldn't have did all the stuff he just did. It gets worse though. It gets so much worse. So I said, so crazy how our choices have lasting effects. And I said, sure, go ahead. So he's like, so when Curtis made his video, I liked it a lot, even though there were problems. I even told him in the comments that he should repin that one comment he made telling people not to harass you and that you're not actually Blair's sister. What the hell was that about? For real, like, I don't know what Curtis was thinking. I really don't. That was such a bad move, even for his own agenda. Like, I really don't know what he was thinking. There's supposed to be a quote here, but I'm basically saying, what the hell was what not about? And thank you. And I said, you looked familiar. And then it snapped into my head. Everything made sense. I said, oh my God, I know why I got paranoid now. And he's like, oh no. And I said, I know why I blocked you. And he was like, oh God. And I said, I saw your profile pic and immediately recognized it. So how do I explain this? Cause like the wheels in my head just start turning. Okay. He said, this is where I get blocked, don't I? It's like he's going through his own trauma again. Remember how he was screaming into the void of my premiere for like 40 minutes and no one hears him? All of a sudden it's just rushing back and he's like, I'm gonna get blocked again, don't I? So I started to explain it, but I didn't explain it right, so I'm just skipping. He's like, okay. And I was like, no, you're not gonna get blocked. He thumbs it up and then he said, I don't get it. I was like, hear me out, listen. And so he put the ear. And I still don't think I did a good job of explaining it because I'd rather say it. But I said, okay, so when I saw the trolls, I would get a feeling. So I'm just going to explain to you guys rather than read this. You can read this incoherent fucking me not being able to explain myself. Basically, when I would see the troll comments, I could recognize their profile pictures because I wasn't able to get them all. When it all was over, they were deleting their own comments and then telling me I was deleting comments, which is when I started to delete their comments because they literally was making it look like I was just responding to them 20 times in a row or something because they deleted their 40 fucking replies to me. So I was trying to delete and block as many of them as possible, but some of them only would leave a few comments. So I didn't get to them all and I would recognize their pictures coming back now. I've seen a couple of them come back now. I'm like, I remember you from you specifically. So I would get this feeling in my head where I'm just like, the paranoia, that feeling of paranoia, coupled with me recognizing the username tells me, you were the troll from 3 years ago, go away. And it would be confirmed because I knew specifically what that account was, but there were a couple of accounts where I didn't know. I just got those two feelings together, remembering seeing this before and getting that paranoid feeling. I'm like, you're probably one of those, I probably recognize you from 3 years ago because I got a bad feeling attached to you, so I'm blocking you, right? And so basically what I was telling him is when I saw his profile picture, I recognized it while getting the paranoid feeling and I assumed he was one of the trolls because I didn't know where I recognized him from. The only thing I could assume with that feeling was 3 years ago. But what I didn't realize is that I read some of the comments in Curtis's comment section because some of my commenters went over to his comment section and he was just fucking around with them when they were literally like telling him, dude, you like, why did you make your video like this? And he's just like, I love you. So I was reading those because they came to me and told me about it. And I saw him comment underneath one of those threads and said the thing that he just said about, can you pin her comment? And I think Curtis even hearted it, which is why I remembered his face. And so I misunderstood that memory since it was me recognizing a profile picture that looks a little like it could be trolly, coupled with the potential bait for an argument with the post that he made. I already explained how that post made me feel like it's a potential troll post. I just wrote him off as the troll and blocked him. And I was like, you're doing the same thing. It was the paranoia. And this was before I said that I would start giving these people a chance. And so if it wasn't for that misunderstanding, if I never had have saw his comment under Curtis's comment section, that one thing, that one choice, it was so many little unfortunate things that happened that led up to this moment. If I never had have saw his profile, I wouldn't have had that bias going in looking at his comment and I wouldn't have blocked him. I probably would have gave him a chance because there were people I was responding to even before part 3. And, you know, they were attacking me afterwards, but I still responded to give them a chance. So then here he says, I'm sorry for calling you a bitch in my original comments on his video. I didn't see that comment, but it's okay. So I said, XD, it's okay. I forgive it all. It was all warranted. I sounded like a bitch. He said, I changed it to be, he wouldn't changed it. I changed it to being, how does it feel to have criticism you can't take down? It says, I feel so much better. Like, I literally did not care. Like I said, I was just grinning from ear to ear. I was like, I feel so much better. I'm so happy I talked this out with you. And he thumbs it up. He said, because yeah, to have this one bit of criticism on you, even if it was very flawed, was extremely cathartic in the moment. It wasn't, he's talking about Curtis's video. I didn't realize that at first. So he's saying Curtis had this tiny criticism on me. He's like, even if it was very flawed, was extremely cathartic in the moment. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about stuff I'm gonna tell you guys at the end. He said it wasn't a well thought out or a civil response. Okay, it wasn't a well thought out or civil response, but goddamn, sometimes you want someone to be told to suck sweaty balls or called a cow. I said, oh, you mean Curtis's comments on me? I recognize the end part. I'm like, oh, that's Curtis. And he's just like, yeah. I said, dude, it's okay. I swear I'm not upset at all. The minute you were willing to delete those tweets, I started to feel relieved. Yeah, that was the moment where I was just like, he's not trying to like exploit this against me. He's actually trying to give me a chance. This can actually be resolved. I don't have to have this twisted against me. It was an honest mistake. I was freaking out. I was literally paranoid. And he's giving me a chance. And then knowing that he was as frustrated as he was, and he still said that nice stuff to me on Twitter. He's just like, I hope you and Curtis can work it out. After going to Curtis's video, like, yeah, fuck Kurena, he still came back to my Twitter and was like, could you just explain to me why you deleted the comment? And the thing is, like, this is something that actually happens with people who have ADHD, people with autism. I'm not saying that this guy is autistic or anything like that, but these different disorders, especially these two, you get really fixated. There's like this fixation you have when you don't understand something. You need to understand how it works. You literally can't let it go. So that's likely the reason why he was so enraged about like how he got treated and went to all these efforts to discredit me and stuff. He wasn't trying to discredit me. He was just trying to expose me. But that also is probably why he reached out to me in the end, because it's still just in his head like, why? Like, what did I do? I don't get why. Now, this is no offense to Moose or anyone who feels the way that he did, but I have to stress this because of how important this is. If you go around and you spread this kind of stuff to streams and Reddits and things like that, someone like me can take it. If someone accuses me of something that I know doesn't apply to me, it is not going to stop me from doing what I want to do, because I know who I am and no one's going to tell me who I am. But that resilience is something that most people don't have, especially in my circumstance. If I truly was the person that you were accusing me of, if I truly was this person who couldn't take an ounce of criticism or handle a single negative comment, and then you went and exposed me to some sort of Reddit or some sort of stream or something, all that would do is then create this wave of people coming in to harass me and criticize me further. And people who have that mindset cannot handle that. So that behavior is what sends some people over the edge and causes them to give up on life. And I wholeheartedly mean that. So I'm imploring you to please think through your actions when you feel unjustified, because you can't get that life back. Luckily for you, you didn't do it. And on top of that, luckily for you, I'm not the person. But if I was that kind of person, you're setting up the perfect recipe for them to give up on life. Your feelings are completely valid. You feeling unjustifiably blocked and all that stuff, it's all valid. You feeling like you just want to hear somebody curse me out or whatever, all that is valid. But your actions are not. Going to those measures to do those things is not valid because of the consequences. So just like how I needed to reflect on some of the things you were telling me and gave me some new realizations, and also gave me hope to know that maybe I don't have to go through this again. Maybe people really will hear me out and I can be free of these trolls. I also would hope that you can take this advice that I'm giving you and change from doing something like that to someone again under these circumstances. Because if somebody blocks you haphazardly because they can't handle what you're saying about them, it isn't necessarily a personal attack on you. If they can't handle what you're saying to them, then that would be somebody who is struggling with something and you just don't know what they're going through. So you really got to think through your decisions when it comes to stuff like that. When it comes to encouraging harassment of someone, regardless of the circumstance, think it through. Because you can't take it back once you do it. And I think that's why you were saying that you were so embarrassed. You were so embarrassed. It's like, hold on to that feeling and just think about the severity of what that outcome could have been if I really was the person that you thought that I was. So again, it's no hard feelings. I have no problem with how you felt. I'm happy that, yeah, it didn't happen. I would have been able to handle it if it did happen, because I've been through that already. And I've been through much worse, which I'll get into in another video probably soon. But you just never know what somebody else is going through. So never resort to harassment as your first option when dealing with somebody who is treating you unfairly. Never. And I'm just going to say this now. I'm going to keep trying to work this out. I still don't know what to do. If Curtis actually messages me, he can even tell me what he thinks that I should do in this situation. You guys can tell me what you think I should do in this situation. I really don't know what to do about it. So if you have any sort of solution, let me know. Even if you don't have a solution, I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying to work this out because I don't even like blocking comments. I don't. As for the whole criticism thing, as I said, I can read a comment and take in the criticism and still just get rid of it because I'm like, this is going to ruin my reputation. No one's gonna give me a chance if I leave this up because of these stalkers. So again, I'm gonna keep working on it regardless. Even if people hate me in the end for everything that I did, that's fine. Even if people just keep mass disliking me, it's not gonna stop me from talking. I'm gonna keep trying to work on myself because I don't think that I'm perfect. I never have spoken as if I'm a perfect person. One thing that I realize is that I think one of the reasons why people think that I'm smarter than them is because I'll say people are dumb, but I literally call myself dumb all the time, like in real life, and people don't know that. But like my friend will be helping me spell check some of my text boxes in my videos, and I'll be a little bit confused on her suggestion. So then I'll read it, I'll be like, what does that mean? And I'm like, oh, I'm being dumb. I say it all the time. Like I usually cut it out because I do it a lot when I read, or if I misunderstand something that I'm looking at. I'll be like, oh, I'm being dumb. I'm like, oh, I'm so stupid. Like, I can actually give you an example from this video. This clip is the type of thing that I left in just a few minutes ago, but I would typically cut it out because it's just a waste of dialogue. Just so you guys know, I can't read for shit. I'm doing my best. So I'm just gonna explain to you guys rather than read this. You can read this incoherent fucking me not being able to explain myself. So it's me literally saying, like, I just gave an incoherent explanation that doesn't make any sense. Like, I know it sounds stupid. I know that it's incoherent. You can literally picture me saying that about someone else in a video. That's just how I talk in general. So I'll probably just leave it in this video for context to give an example. But yeah, like I think that that's one of the many reasons why people are just like, ah, she thinks she's better and smarter than everybody and she thinks she's perfect and she thinks she's... But if you look at my videos, you can hear me acknowledging that I am not a perfect person a lot in many different ways. So I don't know, it's whatever. But yeah, just give me some suggestions because I am trying to fix this. I really am. I don't know what to do. They're not going to go away. Since everybody's seen the story for the most part, and now it's my channel trailer, then maybe I don't have to worry about being manipulated again because now everybody knows. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because last time, years ago, everybody just believed them. So I really didn't know what to do, but now there's all you got. I never had this much support before. So maybe I can finally be free of all this harassment for once and just fucking post and allow other people to post like I always wanted to. Like, I can't control the fact that they came here. I tried my best to give everybody their fucking free speech. I really did. And I was like ruthlessly punished for it for no good reason. Like, it was so unfair, and they're not going away because they don't want anybody to listen to what I have to say. Like, they literally for years have been trying to pretty much just break me and silence me and harass me and attack me. And so I said, I'm just happy. I'm so happy. And the more we've been talking, the more it gets resolved and the happier I feel. I feel so bad for you still though. Like, I had to make that clear. Like, I'm not happy like, woohoo. I'm just like, I feel awful for what I did to you. But like, I'm so happy that we're working this out. Like, I can't believe that happened to you. And he says, thanks for understanding. I'm glad I had this conversation with you. I said, but I will record a video before I go to bed while it is fresh. I can't even use a word to describe how I feel about this conversation, but it's a good one. You've had an epiphany? I was like, what do you mean? Because I know what epiphany means, but like, I was like, how? I was trying to get him to elaborate how. He said, good question, BRB. I said, K-lol. He posted the definition. I said, I don't know. I just feel hopeful. Like, there is something hopeful about having a series of unfortunate events between two people, and yet it can still be cleared up. And I said, yeah, I know what an epiphany is, but I don't know if it's the right word to use here. Reading isn't my strong suit, lol. I said, literally both you and me had a series of decisions that drastically changed our outcomes to write each other off. He said, not sure either, but it's the closest I can think of. I really appreciate that even though you have problems with paranoia, you've trusted me enough to open up. I do have some advice too. I said, go ahead. I haven't had the harassment campaign against me like you have, so this may seem like it's easy to say, but hard to follow. Actually, wait to delete someone's comment until it breaks one of the rules you stated. I said, oh no, completely. I am already trying my best to do that now. But yes, it isn't very easy to follow. It's not. Because again, you have all these people who bait. They're literally baiting arguments. So it's like, is this bait or is this genuine? So I said, like, when you have 16 notifications of comments and they're all BS, there might be one in there that isn't, but it's hard not to make that mistake. And so it says, I was going to fix my sleep schedule tonight, but then you tweeted me, which is fine, just saying. It says the Illuminati drama has been popular and uniquely long-lasting, so that's a reason why it's getting so much attention. That added to me almost not telling you the truth. Oh, that's why I brought up the sleep thing. So I'm just saying, like, me being tired and the adrenaline trying to go to sleep and then getting that adrenaline to edit a video now, go edit something, all that adrenaline made me almost not telling the truth. And that was one decision that would have changed everything. If I hadn't have done what I did, me and him would have still wrote each other off. He says, I'm glad you did tell me the truth. Also, maybe have a Discord call with Curtis and have a chat like this. He may actually be an ass. Okay. I'm all for talking to Curtis. Like, that wasn't a joke when I made that apology. It is not a good apology because I'm not completely sorry, but I am completely all willing to talk things out with him. Like, I have no problem with that, but I can't make him talk to me, so it's up to him. But it says he may actually be an ass. And it could be really hard to open yourself up to a new audience that isn't predisposed to liking you. The audience I have was not predisposed to liking me. They literally, half of them came in and they were just like, I wrote you off. Like, I completely wrote you off. I didn't want to watch your content. I'm just clarifying that. I'm sorry. I have to clarify that. So I'm going to touch on 2 or 3 points real quick and then I'll get back to this story because they're important. So for one, the people who subscribed to Curtis who came over to me expressed to me that they found his videos entertaining, right? So that means that Curtis's strong suit, his skill set is creating entertaining content that's quick and all that stuff, right? So the whole time he was criticizing me, he was kind of centering around that. He's like, your stuff isn't entertaining and your videos are long. And it's like, that's because we post different content, Curtis. Every time someone tells me why they subscribe to me, they always say that it's because of my opinions. But they tell me people are subscribing to me because my point of view is something different and unexpected and thought-provoking. And so these people are not subbing to me because they are predisposed to liking me. I have purposefully formatted my channel to do the exact opposite of that. So understand that even though people never know what I'm going to talk about in a video, I make it so hard. They still are constantly saying, I'm so excited for this. I can't wait to see what you have to say. I can't wait to hear your perspective. They have no idea what my perspective is going to be. They're literally excited to hear a unique perspective. They're excited to hear a genuine perspective, a refreshing one, whatever word they want to use, when they don't even know what I'm going to say. Even people who don't like what I have to say, they're like, it's still interesting. It makes me think on these subjects. You bring up things I never thought of before. That's why they're here. And so what's so sad about all this is that, again, if Curtis had contacted me, I don't think he's going to, but if he had contacted me, we could have actually helped each other. Because since he wanted to talk about how, oh, criticism is tough love, you know, it's advice to help someone improve. Well, if you really want to help me improve, you could have gave me advice for your skill set, for my videos to have a better format or be more visually appealing or, you know, whatever. And you could have helped me in a way that works for me because I need to be efficient with it if I'm going to incorporate any more work into what I'm doing because it already takes so long to make the videos that I'm making. I could have in turn helped him, even though people might see this as offensive. I'm going off of what our subs are saying. Nobody told me that they subbed to him for the reasons they subbed to me for. So I could have in turn helped him with being more thought-provoking in his videos, not in a very extensive way where he has to like drag things out or have long videos as he was saying about me, but just help him think of some things or ways to suggest some stuff to help people, because that is my skill set. We literally could have helped each other, and we would have been, according to him, perfect to help each other because he is the one who said that he also has problems with his head where he can't focus on things and his mind is all over the place. So that means that we could actually give advice that caters towards that flaw in our perspective and that flaw in us not being able to think straight or think properly on things. Literally could have just helped each other. So again, I'm all for talking to him, but I highly doubt that he's gonna want to talk to me. And so it is what it is. It's whatever. It says, but I think that if you and him talked for everyone to see, it could do some real good. I think so too. I honestly do. Like, we are legit in the gutter right now, okay? Like, I was not exaggerating when I said that. We are in the depths of the gutter and it fucking sucks. I don't like it. That's why I'm just like, I'm done. Just deeper in the gutter. I don't know what to do. But it says also, if you want to use any of these DMs in your video, feel free. I don't want my username to be in the title. I'm not anyone on the internet, but I don't want this to be a first result. I'm sure. Going around like, yes, this bitch, this fucking nut. Like, I understand. I said, yeah, I'm going to use a lot just because it's the right thing to do. I don't want to twist your words. However, I wanted to ask you, you had a request for me to mention Illuminaughtii is the problem, but I don't regret saying that she isn't the problem. I literally made the part 4 title to troll because they kept demanding for me to admit I was wrong when they didn't even watch the video. It says, so I don't know if you still want me to bring it up or how, but I didn't post that title as a genuine oopsie. Even though I put okay in the thumbnail. I said I just did it to get them to watch at least a second of the video. I said, which they did. Like, again, if you go to the premiere, you're gonna see multiple people who are like, yeah, I had no idea that this is what you were saying. I think that people clicked on part 4 thinking that I was gonna admit defeat, and they started to listen to me and they're like, oh, because they hadn't watched any other video yet. I feel like it kind of lured them into watching just a second at least. I said, which they did. Many people were telling me that they had seen a nah. I said, of course, man, I will not show your username, I promise. Oh, and don't forget to send me your channel name, because I don't want to forget. It says, feel free to refer to me as Moose. Also, I'm not sure if trolling people to get hate comments is what you after experiencing a harassment campaign is a good idea, but I haven't gone through what you have, so I can't be sure. Again, like, the only thing that worked for me when everyone was trying to silence me, and they were effectively doing that, these stalkers, I just embraced the chaos. So sometimes I still do it. Again, it was years of like traumatic, paranoid bullshit happening. So one way I fight back is to just bring it on. I'm just like, just bring it on. You hate my guts, bring it on, because even if 1,000 of you hate my guts, there's going to be a few people who actually hear me out and understand that I don't think I'm better than everyone. I don't think that I'm perfect, and that I'm just discussing stuff that bothers me because I'm fucking fed up. We're all fed up with stuff. Everybody's literally complaining on YouTube. They just don't like the stuff that I'm complaining about. It says, you're smart. This could be a troll comment, dude. Like, it legit could. I don't know. That's why I hearted it. It says, I also found the comment that irked me into claiming you liked your fans sucking you off or something. I said, I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh. But yeah, I trolled them in the sense where they weren't watching. I'm talking about the video title. So I flipped it around and gave them what they wanted. I'll explain the video. Yeah, like basically I got a comment that said, after these people disliked yourself, because they didn't watch. I know from the analytics, most people who disliked it did not watch. And so it's just like, since you weren't, hell, the comments were literally arguing with the thumbnail. They hadn't watched the video. So the person who just couldn't stand seeing it was like, just give them what they want. And I was like, that's a good idea for a title. I'm gonna do that. So I said, okay, go type a comment. Tell me which video you commented on. I'll see if it appears, because I approved his username. And then he says, so the comments about you shadow banning me are gone. My dislikes are gone since I feel a lot less negative than I usually do when I dislike a video. I said, it's all good. I'll check the live chat later. Which videos you typed in the live chat. Damn, I feel so bad about you screaming into the void. I could just picture him again. 40 minutes you were sitting there and no one can hear you. It's so awful. Oh my God. And then he's just like, all right, I left the comment on your newest video. And he said, Wumbo Wumbo, I want a bumbo. I said, okay, awesome comment. I just realized that's the worst video to leave that comment under, because that's the Curtis apology video. And he's just like, Wumbo Wumbo Bumbo. Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna record now if that's fine, but let me say, okay, this is the important part. I said, oh, but let me say, what you described is how I felt actually. I said, no one heard you, and it was like you were screaming into the void, calling me all these names. Whereas me and other small channels that reached out to me 2 years ago, and the ones after all this incident, had no one to go to, while bigger channels, and even ones the size of Curtis's, would call us snowflakes and unable to take criticism. So I screamed into the void because I was tired of not being heard. So I know the word now, and it was cathartic. And he thumbs it up. He said, well, thanks. You have a great evening. My main lesson I want to impart is that sometimes trying to avoid something leads to that thing happening. You silenced me to prevent a negative impact and to be heard. I was willing to start something in the heat of the moment that could have resulted in a lot of harassment. I mean, again, I've been through it all, so I would have taken it, but it's definitely a good thing for it to have been avoided. And it's just so funny because it's the same thing with Curtis again. Like, he slandered me all throughout his response video. He took everything I said out of context and like wouldn't give people an opportunity to hear me out for themselves. And that in turn got all these people supporting me, like more support than I ever had. Like it's also in its own way this cycle. But there's actually a lot of good that can come out of this whole cycle. Like, me and Curtis could actually be friends. He doesn't want to be friends, that's fine after everything I said about him. But I'm just saying there's like a ton of good that can come from all of this. There already is. Like, I feel so bad for removing your comment, but at the same time, I'm so happy I did, or else this never would have happened. And it says, I'm also likely not the only one who felt this way. I know. I'm sure there's plenty of other people. And so, like, the thing that happened, I said, I know you're not, and I completely get it. I'm going to talk about it. We are on the same page. I'm heading to bed. Love this chat we had. Good night. I said, good night, and me too. So what I want to say is what happened with both me and him is that, you know, he didn't reach out to me on Twitter at first. He did all this other stuff. At least from what I know, I didn't get any notifications from him during this whole thing where he was like commenting on Curtis's thing and all that. So he went to all these other avenues, and then something made him want to come back and reach out to me. And it's like, even though Curtis was irking the ever-loving fuck out of me, I still made my apology where I'm just like, we can still talk this out, you know, because after all this stuff, it's like, I know that I offended him. He had every right to be offended. But for some reason, the way he's reacting is literally making people lose respect for him from what they're telling me. Like, people were unsubscribing to him before I ever responded. So I'm just like, ugh. There's a bunch of people who are just like, man, I thought that he was one of the good ones. And I almost forgot to mention that, like, an old subscriber of mine messaged me on Twitter right at the end of all this shit. And they were just like, oh, I noticed that you're at war with Curtis right now. As soon as he started talking, I immediately recognized his accent as insert where he's from. And he was just like, I'm from there too. And he was like, you know, you could just call him all these things because we really hate being associated with doing this thing to these things. And we really hate having our accent mistaken for this accent. And I was just like, I'm not going to do that. And the supporter's just like, well, it's just a suggestion. I'm like, I understand, but I'm not going to do that to him. But when that happened, I was like, damn, you just going to turn on your own people? And he's like, well, you know, a fool is a fool. Like, I legitimately started to feel so bad because I never intended for all of that to happen. It was literally me not expecting for him to respond. I screamed into the void because no one was listening regardless to any of us. Any tiny channels having these experiences never get their voice heard. So I was pretty much just screaming up at all these fucking YouTubers like, fuck all you guys, you know? You all suck. We're down here suffering from all these fucking bot accounts and these harassing stalkers, and you blame us for it, you pieces of shit. Like, that's where I was coming from. Oh my God. So it's kind of one of those things where with this guy and with me, yeah, we reached out, but it was after all the screaming, but wouldn't have been heard or noticed if it wasn't for that, or wouldn't have had the energy or whatever you want to call it. So it kind of all was just like meant to be, I guess, in its own way. But what I find interesting, the thing that I was laughing at before, is that like the dynamic between me and Curtis's videos is just so ridiculous, like in a caricature-like sense, because again, I like ruined this man's whole ass day. Like, I ruined his month, okay? Like, he made that video. He literally sat there, he said, we're having a good old time.
Just have a good time.
So he's sitting here having a good old time. He's so proud of this video. I make videos, when you first make a video, you're so proud of it. And so he's so damn proud of it. He's so damn happy. He's just enjoying himself. And then all of a sudden, he just hears, you stupid motherfucking dumbass!
This is how you sound in your videos. Just to let you know, that's the vibe you give off. Okay?
Well, you don't give a fuck like this. This stupid motherfucking fuck. He's like, what the fuck? And when he hears that, he's just like, what is she mad at me for? Like, what did I do? Because he really didn't know why I was so mad. And so he's sitting there thinking she couldn't possibly be mad at me for 40 minutes straight because he starts listening to me and he's just so exhausted. He just got so damn exhausted to the point where he gave a comment that sounds like someone who's exhausted would give. He was just like, you know what? You're an energy vampire.
You know what you are? An energy vampire. That's the vibe I get from you.
And he said it twice. He was like all hunched over. He was just like, you're literally an energy vampire. The saddest part is that the fact that I find this shit so funny sounds like something an energy vampire would do.
You're just literally an energy vampire.
And so the energy has just been sucked out of this poor man. And then so like I'm sitting here complaining about the way that he's like exaggeratingly laughing. It's not a big deal, like he's just laughing, but even his laughter was just getting on my nerves. And he hears all that, well, in his head, he just hears my voice echoing in the beginning, where it's just like, this stupid fucking dumbass ass.
Well, you don't give a fuck like this fucking dumbass here.
It's just like haunting him. And so he's sitting there so drained. By the time I was complaining about his laughter, he didn't even know what to say at that point. He's just like, you know what? He got the fucking Dr. Phil meme. He put his hands up in the air. He's just like, you know what? Shut the hell up, bitch.
Shut the hell up, bitch.
Oh my god, but he's just like, shut the hell up, bitch. And I'm sitting here reacting to it. Like, when a guy calls you a bitch, he's really fucking mad at you, okay? He called me a bitch a few times. And so for him to sit there and just be like, shut the hell up, bitch. And I just respond just so like over it. Like it didn't even register. I was just like, shut the hell up, bitch, for like nothing. Like you're not saying anything.
Shut the hell up, bitch.
Shut the hell up, bitch, for nothing. Like I didn't show you say anything. Oh my god. And the other thing is, while I'm complaining about him, I swear to God, I did not do this on purpose. I gotta work on this. So like, one thing that I noticed is that I just be hitting pause. I don't care. Like I'll just hit pause and start talking. Half the time I'm not even looking at the computer screen. And when I am, I'm not paying attention. In my thumbnails, if you guys notice, there's like literally only one thumbnail maybe where I purposefully made someone look dumb like 6 years ago, some shit. All the other thumbnails, I try to make people look presentable. Like anybody I'm criticizing because I just don't like the whole make somebody look as dumb as possible in the thumbnail thing. This is a pet peeve of mine. But like in a video, I'll just pause and then their face will look so fucked up, but I just am not caring about it. So like 3 or 4 times in Curtis's video while I'm sitting here like this dumb motherfucking dumbass here.
Here, nobody gives a shit. So you're gonna be promoting bad messages, and that's gonna be your legacy. Your legacy is gonna be you being a fucking idiot.
He had the dumbest face, like he's just sitting there like, huh? I didn't mean to do that. But the point is, so he's just feeling so damn drained. He just had his whole life shat on. Everything he was working towards just was, he was treated like a failure. So he couldn't hear anything that I was actually saying. But I was saying all this stuff because nobody was listening to people like me, our circumstance. Again, screaming into the void. And you know, so it's just like, that's why I said that even if he responds in a petty way to my second video, it's okay. Like, because after editing his video over and over again and listening to all that stuff, I just started to find it so funny because he made me into a whole ass caricature. Like, there's this one clip where like I kind of sound like a valley girl or something. There's this clip he keeps playing in the video where I'm just like, there's nothing funny about it.
There's nothing funny about it.
Like, I don't even sound like a person. There's nothing funny about it. Oh my god. Get some self-control. Like, there were just so many parts that he clipped to like make me look like this fucking angry feminazi Blair's sister thing. He just took it out of context so much because again, everything he was working towards just got like, it's like he had such a great day. He was having so much fun and then I just rained all over his parade. So he was like, well, I'm gonna rain over yours. Everything you're trying to promote, I'm just gonna shit all over it because fuck you, basically. And that's why he was talking about getting views to support a cause. And I'm just like, well, sit that to the side if you actually give a shit about anybody because this is bigger than me. And it just became this whole thing while not realizing that he never would have seen it or responded or whatever if I hadn't have did it the way that I did. So there would have been no cause. There would have been no support. So it's like he started making me into this caricature. And he's just so upset. He's just like, I'd rather be urinated on than listen to any more of this. He was just like, boo, go away. I'd rather be urinated on.
Boo, go away, I've had enough of this video now. Honestly, I'd rather be urinated on than listen to this crap.
Oh my god. He was so over it. And that's why he kept coming back with the clown music.
There's nothing funny about it.
I just realized something. Oh my god, you guys. Now I know why in my premiere. Okay, so like he was sitting here playing clown music every single time I tried to talk, right? He literally did everything he could to make me look like a whole ass clown. This like enraged feminazi clown. So that was on his side, you know? And he had the commenters like, oh, she's Blair's sister. Oh, she's just so miserable, you know, whatever the fuck they were saying, right? They were just like dragging me in his comment section. So that was like over on his side. Then on my side, they're watching me reacting. And when he started laughing over me.
That's better. Let's get into it.
Well, you don't give a fuck like this fucking dumbass here. There's nothing funny about it.
Everybody in the live chat, like everybody in the live chat was just like, this fucking Joker. They were just like, he sounds like the Joker. He's a fucking Joker, like Jared Leto Joker. It's like he's auditioning for a B-movie Batman Joker, rejected Joker. Somebody paint his face like the Joker. He's gonna tell you where he got his smile from. They were just like, Curtis is a clown. Curtis is a hawk. Curtis is definitely Dark Knight Joker. Curtis is one of the biggest jokes on YouTube. Curtis is a joke. Like, they just kept calling him a whole ass clown. Oh my god, it was just a mess. It's literally just a fucking mess. It's a whole ass mess, you guys. And then caught in the middle of it all is this poor little soul, this poor little person who I wrote off, and then he wrote me off. And then he's just sitting there cheering on the chaos. It is literally just a fucking mess. And that's why I'm like, I'm over it. Just message me if you want to. We could talk this out. But the point is, I was so happy I had this damn conversation with this person because I am so happy I was able to clear that up. It was nothing personal against you. But I don't know what to do. But it is what it is. So the point is, I am happy that you reached out to me. It gave me some perspective. I am officially apologizing. Like, I said this 1,000 times already, but I'm so sorry for banning you. I'm so happy that you reached out to me despite everything that set up the building blocks for you not to. Now, I'm one person, okay? I'm not about to be rolling out a million apology videos, and I understand that some people might say, oh, well, you're not taking responsibility. I don't have time. All I can say is, for the people who can comment, tell me what to do under these circumstances with these trolls falsely accusing me of breaking the law and all this other crazy stuff under replies to other people that I can't catch in my notifications. Tell me what to do about that. Again, I have all these people supporting me now that I've never had before, so maybe I don't even need to worry about these people ruining my name or something. Maybe I can finally just be free of it. I don't know. But give me some feedback on that, because it was sad. There was this one person who got so angry. Like, and it was a complete misunderstanding. Under the Curtis apology video, someone posted a comment where they had started to like sort of criticize Curtis. I then responded and was telling them that I still give him empathy, and I was like explaining why. And then they replied to me and said, yes, I also understand. Like, they were also trying to empathize. So I was like, oh, I guess I could pin that because of the discussion. Again, it was late as fuck, okay? Like, I was ready to go to sleep. I just wasn't thinking. So I just put that up because I wanted people to see what we were talking about. And so then I get this comment from someone who's like, I have lost all respect for you. You would pin someone criticizing him under his apology video. And I was like, that's not what I was trying to do at all. But again, it just felt like everything that I do gets twisted against me. Even when it's not from these fucking trolls. It felt like it was twisted. And I literally just did not care. Like, I had no energy. I was like, whatever. So I just blocked the person. And I'm sure that person hates my guts and is probably running around right now trying to like find discords and shit just like Moose did. But it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry for blocking you and sorry for blocking anybody who didn't deserve it. It's just like having all those people tell me that I can't handle this and I can't handle that. It's like you're not giving me a solution. It's like they literally not providing a solution but telling me that what I'm doing is wrong. Now I know why I kept fixating on it, because there's just like this connection that I was making, the ADHD thing I was telling you where you need to understand something. It feels like projection. It feels like they keep telling me that I can't handle it because they literally don't know how to handle it, or else they would have given me a solution. It's so unfair. It's like I try to provide solutions when I have a problem with what someone's doing. I'll say, you shouldn't do that for these reasons. You could do this instead. Try this. Like, I try to do that for anybody who wants to be like, oh, well, you criticize people. It's like, yeah, I try to add something. That was the whole entire point of the beginning of all of this. But they're literally just telling me like who I am and why I'm doing certain things, which isn't true, and then not giving me an alternative solution. They're not trying to understand where I'm coming from. So it's like with that person, I could have messaged them. I honestly could have had a conversation with them probably sorry and been like, oh, I didn't mean that at all. But I really just didn't care at that point because it was just yet another commenter yelling at me for something that I wasn't even trying to do. And it's fucking exhausting. Again, you're lying on my character, but that's just gonna be watered down to she can't take criticism. Like, they literally phrased it as if I was maliciously trying to be like petty or something under an apology video. Why would I even do that? You get my point? And it's not that I'm like, oh, I can't handle what you're saying. It's like other people are gonna read that and then think that that's what I'm doing. And again, nobody has a solution for that. So people are just gonna be able to say something about me en masse to create this public opinion of me that is not true. And then other people are gonna read it and judge me from that instead of watching my video first and getting an opinion for themselves, and you're not giving me a solution on how to deal with that. So with all that being said, you guys tell me what to do because I am trying to work this out. I'm trying to figure out how to go about this. I still think that certain people do need to be blocked and stuff. Like, again, I wish I had to just block those fucking stalkers from the beginning years ago. Maybe they wouldn't have felt so emboldened to stick around this whole time, but they're here and they're not going anywhere. So give me a solution if you have that much of a problem, but I'm not about to sit here and beat myself up for trying to handle something that almost no one deals with on this fucking level of a scale. Like, most people in these situations are not dealing with not only trolls literally slandering the fuck out of them en masse, but then on the other side, all these other critics watching from the outside, then criticizing you for trying to deal with the other people slandering you. So it's literally two whole ass crowds of people yelling at me for shit that I'm not even trying to do, instead of helping and providing a solution for my circumstance. Curtis included. Like, again, I'm cool with talking to him, but he's included in that. You didn't give me a solution for the concerns that I brought up. Hell, if anything, you might have more experience with this than me since you're a bigger YouTuber. I don't know if you like talk to other YouTubers. I don't know what stories you've heard or like what circumstance you've been in. You could have provided something to help me. I'm looking for help from any and everybody because I'm sick of going through this. This is not fair. This is not okay. So give me a solution, give me some feedback. I am trying to solve this. I don't want to just unjustifiably block people. It's not that I just want to silence anyone who disagrees with me, and I just only want to hear from people who want to suck me off, okay? And I know that Moose didn't mean it that way. I know that he was saying he was sorry and stuff. I'm saying this to everyone else. I don't just need people to suck me off. I literally went 4 years plus with people just shitting on me every single day. So you don't know me. But yeah, so give me some actual feedback and maybe we can come up with some sort of solution to solve this whole thing, because right now this is a fucking mess and it's getting ridiculous. So with all that being said, again, I'm so sorry to you, Moose. Thank you for reaching out to me. Sorry to anybody who was unjustifiably blocked, but give me some help. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.